Hi there, my name is Kimberly Inez Mays. For those who don't know me, I demystify technology for small and medium-sized professional service-based businesses so that they can stop duct taping their systems together and start scaling with confidence. And in this video, I'm excited, you can see my smile, because Google just released a whole lot of updates, right? And what I'm going to do is not necessarily a demonstration of everything that they've put out because I don't have enough time and I wouldn't have enough time to give it the attention that it needs. But I'm going to just talk about what they released in the macro level at the Google I/O conference that was held in late May of 2025, and then just talk about what this looks like going forward for businesses. Because even though I have this huge grin on my face, it's because competition is exciting. Um, I was on Facebook the other day and somebody said this is the biggest week in AI. And I'm like, every week is a big week in AI because there are so many releases coming out. These companies are just one-upping each other. So every time there's a big release on one, I'm just waiting and looking at the others like, okay, your move. And so I'm going to start doing more content on what these releases are and if it's worth investing in and what you can do and why it matters, right? And then to just give you my take on where I see things. And keep in mind too that my opinion is just my opinion. It's just that, you may feel differently about something, and that is quite okay too. I do think in these spaces sometimes people just say, oh, I said what I said and that is the end all and be all. No, it isn't. It's like, yes, taking the information, somebody else might say something a little different, but at the end of the day, it's a good time to learn and leverage these tools, no matter if you're a solopreneur, a student, an employee, especially if you're an employee, and if you're a business owner, because the thing is, it's not going away. And I know that there is a lot of the evils and the dark side of AI, which, yes, we can definitely have those conversations, but having that opinion won't change the reality that this is where the market is going. Do I see it slowing down at some point? Yes. But I see right now we're at probably, I say if this is like the summit, right, or the apex or whatever, the top of the bubble, we're kind of like right here. So we're going to get more and more innovation, more and more things coming out. And it's going to get cheaper and cheaper to actually build, and it's going to get less, the barrier of entry is going to get lower and lower, and it's going to get less complex to build apps and systems and tech stacks and things that you need for your business, which is actually a really, really good thing. As a matter of fact, I've seen technology come such a long way that a lot of these things that are out now with CRMs, automation, content creation was only accessible if you were a business with a lot of money, only if you had time to be a developer, only if you had time to really get your hands into this stuff. Well, now all of that's changed. It can be as common as, even like a parent or a grandparent or your aunt, uncle, whatever, they can all use AI. And I know I'm venturing away a little bit. I'm getting on a soapbox about AI and not about Google per se, but I am framing this to kind of set you up for all of the things that they've released and what I'm looking for going forward, and what makes me excited. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you see me looking this way, it's because my notes are kind of on this monitor, but I'm going to try my best to stay focused on the camera because I want to look at you and kind of deliver what makes me happiest about what came out. And of course, so much came out that I need notes because usually I don't use notes when I speak. But nonetheless, let me stop babbling and just let me get into it. So Gemini 2.5 Flash has been updated with 20 to 30% fewer tokens. I did a video before about tokens and what that means. And basically that is the measure by which the model is generating. I talked about that. And basically it improves reasoning and multimodality. So yeah, it's just a better LLM. Basically uses fewer tokens. It gets you a better results with fewer energy. Basically, that's what it's saying in plain English, right? So reduce operational costs while maintaining high quality maintaining quality for high volume applications. So it's fast, it's cost effective, and it can do things like customer service and content generation. So you may just want to check that out. I talked about context windows and what that means and what it means for your chat to suddenly start forgetting things and what this means when you are using certain models. And the nice thing about it is that when I did my research for this video, I also did include in my notes if it's available for free users versus paid users. And speaking of paid users, there are two pricing tiers, and I'm seeing a lot of companies kind of going this way. So you have your free tier. That's good for if you're just getting your feet wet, you're not really using it for a consistent business purpose, but you need to just run a query, generate something real quick. Maybe you're going to use it like once a week or a couple of times a week. Free will absolutely work for you. Again, I don't pay for everything because then I'd be going broke, right? So we all have to simmer down, cool it down, and not pay for everything. But nonetheless, if you're going to use a tool consistently and you're going to invest in a suite of tools or a tech stack, it's worth paying for. And a lot of what I'm seeing is the pro accounts. They start at about $20 a month. I did some content on Perplexity. I use Perplexity Pro. That's about $20 a month. I have ChatGPT Plus as of this recording. It's $20 a month. There's a lot of $20 a month models, and I think that they suffice for most businesses. Of course, there's also Teams plans too, so everybody has their own account and shared workspaces, things like that. Cost a little more, but then if you're really about that life, or if you really need it, there are the is it called Pro Plus, Ultra? There's pricing tiers that now go north of $200. I know for ChatGPT they have theirs north of $200 that you can get, and you get earlier access to reasoning models, deep research models, and things that they've come out with. Usually it will be available for that higher tier first. And then they have fewer limitations on their top models for the, I don't even want to say Pro versus Plus first, because Google just messed up the whole naming system and they just called it Ultra. So they have this Ultra price tier right now that's $250 a month. So if you invest that kind of coin into an AI model, definitely take advantage of everything that it has in it, right? Because I'm going to be talking about some of the things that are available in Ultra that I wish I had, but I am not doing the $250 just yet. So now let's kind of go into what was released. So we talked about Gemini 2.5 Flash updated, and then we're going to talk about the Pro Deep Think. So this is the deep reasoning model. It's enhanced reasoning mode for complex math and coding problems. And this is really good if you're writing code, for example. I think a couple of years ago, I used a large language model just to get me over the hump with some of the things that I was coding, because as a former coder, sometimes you just run into what's known as a dreaded syntax error. You leave off a semicolon somewhere, or maybe you just don't close the parentheses the right way, and you're just like, okay, well, why is my code breaking at this point? So with these language models, now you can just have it output and spit out the whole thing if you want to, or you can have it create snippets for you. The time saving is completely unreal. So that is a good use case for this. It says advanced problem solving, complex coding, mathematical analysis. So if you have a data set and you want to start looking for trends or patterns and things like that, this would be good for that. It is available in the Pro, which is the $20 a month, and then the Ultra, which is the expensive one, right? So again, if these are things that matter to you, I suggest going with one company, going all in, and then taking advantage of that for like a month, seeing if that works for you, and then pivoting as needed. They also release native audio output, so direct audio generation with tone, accent, and style control. Maybe I'll do content more on voice assistants a little bit later, but that's something really cool. And I also want to get into translations, even though I speak one language. Regrettably, I studied three languages, but speak one fluent, which is the language I'm speaking right now, but really want to test that out. So that is going to be something that is in Pro and Ultra. And then what's really excited is the Project Mariners, the computer use. So it can interact with your browser. It can actually read what you're reading. It can do a bunch of tasks on your computer. It automates complex workflows and reduces manual computer operations. Really, really cool. I don't think it's Skynet level or anything. I know that scares some people, but I think that's really cool. For example, after I do my recording, sometimes I'll have to go upload it to somewhere, upload it to one platform, have that chop it up, and then do this other thing with this other thing. So I still do a lot of tasks manually. So I would love to check that out when that is available to me. So that is one of the things that they've come out with. And then what's really fun is the Google Live camera screen. Gemini Live with camera and screen. It can enable remote voice assistance, visual problem solving capabilities, and that is free for the iOS and Android app. I tested that out, in conjunction with the ChatGPT one. They tend to work pretty well, they tend to work pretty well. I do think that they have their place for that. Like, for example, I was in a business and I said, okay, well, what should be placed in this office area? What kind of things would enhance the office or the business? And I did that with the camera, but I did that with ChatGPT, but you could probably do that also with Gemini as well. Agent mode, that says coming soon. It's just the proactive task automation that can repeat processes over time. So again, agent's going to be the big word of 2025. I think next year it'll be less exciting because it'll be more integrated with how we use AI now. Like, nobody's talking about prompting anymore. Prompting is so 2023, right? So I think agents have their moment right now, but next year probably a little less, so probably be something else too. Gemini in Chrome, that is the browser integration that I had talked about for web page analysis. That's coming for the paid users. And then if you've done a Google search in the past, I don't know, a week and a half, you may have seen that it comes up with the AI results. That's on its own tab. I know before it was mostly experimental, it would come up on the top. And this is huge, and I do think that this is the answer to perplexity, because a lot of times we don't want a list of links that we got to go in, see if it's what we want, go in, see if it's what we want, go to another link, see if it's what we want. We just want everything there. Now, there's pros and cons, right? To the user, it's super convenient because now we don't have to visit all these websites. But for a business, especially if you rely on traffic, if you rely on impressions or pay-per-click or ads and things like that, it's now taking eyeballs off of your site because now people don't need to go to the site for your information. So there are some pros and cons, but basically the AI mode in search is pretty cool. It's conversational search with AI. Overview replaces basic link list, and it provides comprehensive answers faster than traditional research. So what you can use it for is market research, competitive analysis, and information gathering, obviously. Right? And I'm a big proponent of research. I love data. I love making sure that anything that is put out makes sense. Anything that's put out is correct, and we have the sources. Then I did a video recently on VO2. Now they have VO3, and that is available, I think, at the ultra level right now. That is creating a lot of buzz because the videos look so realistic. I know in the past I've talked about that uncanny valley where you can kind of see something just quite ain't right with the face. They are continuously fixing this so we can now start to lose some of that uncanniness with the videos. The only thing is that these videos, actually, I have to check out VO3 because I don't know as of the time I'm speaking now how long the generation is, but I do think there's consistent character development. 'Cause I know that for Sora at least, it only creates like a little, maybe 10 seconds, 8 seconds of video, and then you have to create another snippet, another snippet, another snippet. So really excited to see what that looks like. Imagine 4 or Imagen 4, that's the image generation with better text rendering and quality. So again, I'm not going to say, I'm not the kind of person that says, oh, well, this is the best, because I don't know, next week something else can be the best. That's aligns with my philosophy of being platform agnostic, is that I say the best is what you're going to use. So if you're going to use something, start using it. Start using it. Do those trials. Do the 1 month subscription to see if it's what you need. See if it's what your team needs. And then kind of stick and commit, because these things are just going to keep improving and improving, and it's not slowing down. All right. Deep research updates. So enhanced research capabilities with podcast creation. Definitely going to check that one out. And then I was going to do separate content again on Google Notebook LM, because that is like chef's kiss, right? That is another product that I'm never breaking up with. Literally, you can put in all of your sources from YouTube videos, PDFs, and things that you've acquired, and basically make a podcast, make a recording that you can listen to on the go to learn about literally anything. So in 2025, ignorance is not an excuse. You have too many tools to make you smart. So you can accelerate market research and content creation strategy and development with that, do competitive analysis, content planning, report generation. But even on the personal level too, you can do personal professional development, which is what I'm really using Google LM for. Also, if you're an author, if you're writing a book, if you're doing anything that requires a walled garden of content, by which you want to use AI to generate or use any sort of like RAG type of a model. RAG just means retrieval augmented generation. Google LM is really, really good for that. Canvas updates. This is just a collaborative space by which people can generate on a shared document, basically. So there's a lot to unpack here. There's text to speech, and there's a lot of API development, API updates as well. So if you're a developer, if your team is developing something, a lot of these tools are available by using an API. And I do see that they do have, I was going to start throwing out more acronyms, but I might lose you. So there's something called MCP, Model Context Protocol, that also connects different applications and connects different ways to pass the data, right? So if you're not technical and you're like him, you're throwing out too many letters, just keep in mind that it's literally making things smarter so it can talk to each other, right? Sometimes I do need to stop myself before going off the rails of, hey, APIs, MCPs, LLMs, because then I just lose a bunch of folks. But just bear with me. All of this stuff is to connect data, make your lives easier, automate, and find information faster. So if that was the entire video, if that's all you want to listen to, then that's really what it is. Workspace integration is huge. So it's deeper email, Meet, and Google Workspace integration. So definitely I'm going to check that out because I am a Workspace user. Improves productivity across business tools, email management, meeting assistance, and document creation. And yeah, that's just some of what was released. I know that I've been talking for like 20 minutes, but if you're interested, go ahead and invest. You know, I don't get paid. I'm not endorsing any particular product. I'm not getting paid for it, but I do encourage curiosity. I encourage people to learn, especially learning. If you want to start light, you can start with the free versions of everything. Actually, Google LM is also free as well, so go ahead and check that out. But yeah, what an exciting time to be alive. And I'll leave some links for you to read some of the things that I have put together. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Actually, no, it's not. It's not all I got to say about that, because if you enjoyed what I presented, and you're like, Kim, I don't really know where to get started. I don't really know like what phase that I'm in all of this. I have systems here, systems there. I got this procedure going on. I am also a business analyst and a project manager, and I know how hard it is to do these pivots, right? I say get started and try things out, but that's easier said than done, especially if you're leading a large team, or if you have a lot of people who are depending and relying on you, and you have stakeholders, you have customers, maybe funders, things of that nature. So I put together an AI and systems assessment scorecard that you can just answer 5 easy questions to get a wealth of resources that I've put together, no matter if you're in 3 different phases, the frame it method, if you're going to just take a step back, take an assessment of what you have, what's working, what's not working, or if you're in a build it phase, if you're ready to get your hands dirty, make some changes, or implement some new policies, procedures, and tools. And then if you're in the run it stage, if you have something that is working phenomenally and maybe just want to integrate your systems a little bit better and scale, there is something for everybody, right? And if you're like, Kim, I love what you have, but I just want to skip to the chase and I need direct support, then I offer an automation insight session. That's a free 30-minute call with me. We can talk about what's working, what's not working, how I can best support you, what you've tried before, all of that good stuff, right? We can just cut to the chase, get to the nitty gritty, and see how we can get stuff going. All right. So with that, that's all I got to say about that. All right. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will be back to talk about more releases in the AI and tech world. But for now, I'm going to sign off. All right. Video's over. Bye.